So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to be in store for when you get ready to do your tax return or somebody does your tax return for you. So last year when I heard about this Affordable Care Act, I didn't think there was much to it. You probably didn't either. I knew that the government was imposing upon us this new law where it says you got to have insurance. I don't know about you, but I didn't like that too much. But I also knew that there was going to be some penalties. And I don't know about you, but I thought it was going to be $95 for a penalty. So who cares? You know what? If I get insurance, don't get insurance, 95 bucks, I'm not worried about it. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I went to a tax seminar, and I found out that I was wrong, and there is more to it. So I decided to make a little presentation about it today. Read that, and if you were one of those people, then we will be talking about you. So you probably can't read this right here, but what it's saying is that this year when you get ready to do your tax return, or somebody does your tax return, they're going to ask you, or you're going to ask yourself, one of four questions. The first question is, did me or my dependents have health insurance for all of last year? The next question is, if I didn't, or we didn't have health insurance for all of last year, did we have it for part of the year? Then the next one is, did we have any exceptions? We didn't have any health insurance last year or part of the year. Are there any exceptions? And then the last one is, did we receive an advanced tax credit? And if we did, then how are we going to deal with that? And I will talk about all that in a minute. So, first question is, do we have health insurance for all of last year? Answer is yes. On your TurboTax or your CPA, simply clicks the little box and moves on. Life is good. Answer is no. Well, now it gets interesting. So there is a penalty if you say no. Maybe. So how much is it? Well, there's the $95. I was partially right. It's $95 per person though, and you have two children, it's $47.50 each. So for a total of $285. Still not so bad. But then they've got this, it's the higher of these two. One of them's called the percentage method, and the percentage method is, for this year, it's 1% of your income minus $20,300. Well, what's the $20,300 represent? If you make $20,300 or less, you will not have to file a tax return. So, there you go. And you wouldn't have to pay this penalty.
Gross or net?
It is actually your adjusted gross income. So that's sort of a gross. So I've got an example for you. We've got a married couple, 2 kids. They made $200,000 last year. And just for fun, let's say they don't have a W-2, they have their own business. And I don't know about you, but you probably know about a lot of people that have their own businesses that don't have health insurance because it's tight and we need to cut corners in different places. And so health insurance is going to be one of those places. And so no insurance for last year. So what is the penalty for this married couple with 2 kids? $1,797. Well, here's what I was thinking. Maybe that doesn't seem so bad. You make $200,000, what the heck? But I'll bet you what's going to happen is I'm going to have clients. They're going to come in and they're going to be ready for that refund that they got last year again. And they've already talked to the wife about it and said, okay, we had $1,500 last year. What are we going to do with it this year? Because nothing's changed. We made the same amount of money. And they've already figured it out and they're coming in and they're figuring it out. I just need to do my tax return so I can get my refund. So I do the tax return, and I tell them, by the way, you don't not only do not get a $1,500 refund, but you owe $297. You think my year isn't going to be fun? So the maximum amount, if they made a lot of money, then they would pay up to $9,800, and a family of 5 would pay up to $12,000 in the penalty. So maybe this is the way that Uncle Sam was going to pay for this health insurance this year, this health program. Okay, so that's 2014. How about 2015? Well, in 2015, the minimum is going to be $325 and a 2%. And then in 2016, it gets interesting. In 2016, the minimum is $695 and 2.5% of your that modified income. But what they did in 2016 is they're trying to make it equal to what you would buy a married couple or a bronze plan. So have anybody here actually gone on the site last year and bought any insurance? The bronze plan, any of that stuff? You know, I don't know, they got bronze and probably gold and silver.
Bronze,
Gold,
silver.
Okay, well anyhow, so this is the bronze plan. So in 2016, the penalty is going to equal the health insurance premiums. So they want you to buy this health insurance. Well, so you said no and you didn't have health insurance for the whole year. One of the exceptions is you made $20,300 or less. Hate to be that person, but that sometimes happens. The next one is the lowest price available plan costs more than 8% of your income. You experience one of several hardships. One of them is eviction, bankruptcy, and God forbid, domestic violence. And we were at the tax class, they said, isn't this going to be interesting? We've never asked this question before. So did you have domestic violence in your family class? Your individual insurance plan was canceled, and you consider plans in the marketplace are unaffordable. Now that one's going to be interesting, because how is the government going to determine, or how are you going to make the argument that it was unaffordable? How are you going to prove that, or how are they going to disprove it? I think there's going to be some interesting cases in the future, or maybe they're just going to let us go on this. You think maybe they don't really care about the penalties? You are in jail. If you are in jail, the good news is you don't have to pay these penalties. So there is an alternative to paying the penalties.
You're probably not reading this.
There you go, Bruce. There's your house.
You are an immigrant who is in the country illegal. So there are benefits to being illegal in the country. You are outside of the country for more than 330 days. So if you're working abroad and so forth, this is good. You don't have to worry about it. And this one here says your uninsured gap is less than 3 continuous months. The continuous is a very interesting word, because that means it's got to be right on a row. So January, February, March, and then you start the next month for the next 9 months, you don't have to pay a penalty. But if it is January, June, and December, it doesn't count. It's got to be 3 continuous months. You experienced death of a close family member. You experienced a fire, flood, or other natural or human-caused disaster that caused substantial damage to your property. You had medical expenses that you couldn't pay for the last 24 months. Well, that means it's got to go back probably into 2012 to carry on into 2013, or 2013 into 14. And maybe it'll alleviate some of the months, but maybe not all of the months. You experience unexpected increases in necessary expenses due to caring for an ill, disabled, or aging family member. You experience another hardship in obtaining health insurance. That last one's sort of like a catch-all. So they're going to say, well, I didn't have any of these. Do you have anything else? Yeah, how about this last one? Sure, put me down for that one. Now, the premium assistance tax credit. So last year you got on one of those programs and you said, yeah, my income is going to be low, we're going to have children, all these things. And as you're clicking on this, the price goes down and you're clicking, and you get down and your premium is low. And it's happy days. And then when you come in and see your tax preparer, he says, so your income was this higher than you expected, you did not have a child, and so on and so forth. Then it goes back up, which means now you owe taxes because you got to pay the credit back. Tax court case. This is a big one. Right now, before the Supreme Court, are the penalties fair? Are the penalties legal for both individuals and businesses? And supposedly in June 2015, they're going to make that decision. And if they say no, the legs are coming out from under this table. So we'll all find out. Last thing, and that is, if you have a company and you have 2 or more employees, that could be your husband and the husband and wife, and you provide health insurance, but it's not through a group plan. Like you're paying for some health insurance, you're paying partially the health insurance, you're paying yours but not your employees. And I had clients that do that and think, let's just write it off and take the risk. The risk this year is a penalty of $100 per day, not to exceed $36,500 for the year, if you decide to take that deduction and you're not providing the group plan or you're not providing a health plan through the program. You can't cheat anymore. and get by with it without paying a severe penalty. Down at the bottom, and I can give you all this, these are sites you can go to if you want to learn more about it. And that is it. I'm Crayton, CBS.